What's good, YouTube? Well, as y'all see in the thumbnail, transmission gear is all ate up. So, like 2 days before New Year's, I left Florida and I was I made it back up to Georgia. I was on my way to Georgia. I was on my way to Villa Rica, Georgia. And I made it up to McDonough, and I start hearing this loud, this crunching sound or whatever. I can't really explain it. As I was coming up the hill or whatever. So I pulled over, listened, couldn't hear it when I stopped or whatever. Start driving again, it was making it again. So I drove a little bit, pulled over again. And I could hear it a little bit, but I still wasn't sure what it was or whatever. So I was thinking it was like an exhaust leak or something like that. I don't know why I was thinking that, but that's what I was thinking. So I called a few people. I called one guy, told him the sound over there in Georgia. He said he wasn't going to be open until the next day, to bring it by. He knew what it was or whatever, but I'm not sure if he knew what it was or whatever. But anyway, I was like 70 miles away from Villa Rica, Georgia. I was in McDonough, and I was like, bump it. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep on riding, because it was riding fine or whatever. It just was making that sound, and I made it over there to the exit for the Walmart to where I was going or whatever. Got off the exit, got to the stoplight. I was on the phone with my wife. I stopped at the stoplight. Then when I was getting ready to go again, it made this like jerking. It jerked, and it made that loud, that sound real loud. So I'm like, oh boy. So I babied it on down to the Walmart, got unloaded, and I babied it 5 miles back up to the Pilot or the Flying J, whichever one it was over there in Villa Rica. Stayed there for the night. Got up the next morning, called a tow truck driver. Tow truck came to get me. I asked him, did he know what the sound was? He immediately said it's the transmission, because it was making a knocking sound too. It wasn't making that, you couldn't hear this clanking sound or whatever it was, but you could hear the knocking sound. So he was like, that's your transmission or whatever. So I took it over to Rush, got it towed over to Rush in Smyrna, and got me a hotel. So the next day, like New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, they got it in the shop, and they said it was a transmission and the clutch. So the clutch had went out. It was a spring in the belt housing that came off the clutch or whatever, and then the transmission was all ate up. I got a picture up in the thumbnail of the transmission or whatever. So I sat down there for a couple of days. No, I didn't. I stayed down there till, well, I did sit for a couple of days. I was in the hotel for like 3 days, because I was in the hotel for like 3 days. I think I left Friday. I did. So waiting for International to figure out what they was gonna do or whatever, because the truck was still under warranty, and I took it in for that knocking sound when I first got the truck or whatever, like a week after I came back off the road or whatever, and it was in the shop for that. And White's International in Greensboro told me that knocking sound was normal. All Eaton Enduran transmissions made that sound or whatever. It was the clutch actuator, the LCM or something like that. knocking on the clutch, trying to make sure it was fully engaged. That was something he told me, something like that. Whatever. I'm like, I don't remember fully what he said, but it was something like that. Whatever. So in my mind, I'm thinking everything was okay. I should have known better. But part of me was thinking like something ain't right. But I still was thinking like, well, he's the mechanic. He should know what he's talking about or whatever. But I asked another driver that had the same truck like mine or whatever, and was his truck making that sound? He said no. And I asked him what transmission. He said he wasn't sure of what the transmission was that was in his truck, but he said his didn't make that sound or whatever. And I was standing right there. I didn't hear it making the sound either. So they end up getting Eaton to cover the transmission because the bill came up to $32,000 or whatever. So my rep over at International, where I brought the truck from, he got him to get Eaton to cover the transmission or whatever. Some campaign that was going on that they knew about or whatever. So they used that, and the bill got down to $8,000. So then, he was talking to him even more, whatever, and was like, see, to get the bill down some more, whatever. So long story short, they got the bill down to $4,000. And International Used Trucks in Charlotte, they covered the $4,000. I didn't have to pay anything. Now, mind you, like 2 weeks before that, the truck was in the shop for the DEF heater line hose was messed up or whatever, so they replaced that on that. So when I picked the truck up, what's today? Friday. When I picked the truck up Monday in Georgia, after the transmission and the clutch got fixed, I booked me a load, drove over to where did I drive to? I don't remember. It was somewhere by Atlanta. No, I drove to Villa Rica again. That's where I was. I drove over to Sugar Foods in Villa Rica, Georgia, to pick up my load or whatever. So as I got there and I went back into the door, as I was backing in the door, my check engine light came on. So I backed into the door, looked at the code or whatever, pulled it up. First I put the wrong code in, and they were saying something about a speed sensor. And so I was like, I wasn't too worried about that. So then I looked at it again. I was like, that wasn't the right code or whatever. I had the FMI part wrong. I had 19 and it was FMI 3. So I put that in, and then it was that same code for the DEF heater line hose that I had got the truck worked on weeks before. Came up again. So I ended up telling the people where I was picking the load up at that, I couldn't take the load or whatever, and I called TQL and told them I couldn't take the load. I had to take my truck back to the shop. So I did hit it from Villa Rica, Georgia, back up here to Greensboro, North Carolina. Dropped my truck back off in White's International, and they just got it done today. It was the hose again. It was given the same code, but it was a different hose. It was number 3. So, and as I was talking to them the other day, I'm like, well, because they said the wires was messed up pretty bad or whatever. They was frayed and stuff like that or whatever. So I was like, so it had to be like that when I brought it to y'all the first time. So, am I gonna have to pay anything? And they like, well, yeah, because the first time it was line 1. Like this time it's a different line or whatever. So, but I'm like, it had to be like that. I brought it in for that same code or whatever. So he was like, it's a different code. It's showing a different code. So it was showing a code for 3 this time or whatever. And he was saying it wasn't showing a code for 3 the last time or whatever. So anyway, they fixed the truck. They repaired the lines. And I feel like it would have been like a $1,500 job. But they only charged me $480 something to fix those lines or whatever. I feel like I shouldn't have had to pay anything, but they reduced the labor and all that other stuff. So, and they also updated the ECM and everything else like that or whatever. So they took off a big chunk of the price or whatever. So I was satisfied with that because it was a different line, even though I feel like it was the same code. But I ain't arguing about it. I just paid the $482. got my truck. And I drove it back home. I ain't having no issues out of it right now, so hopefully I can get some running done and make some money, because the truck been in the shop for a total of a month since I got it. I got it in November. I only ran 3 weeks with the truck, and I ran a week, put the truck in the shop. It was in the shop for 2 weeks. Got it back again, ran a little over a week, took it back to the shop. It was in the shop for 2 weeks. No, it was in the shop for a little over a week. Picked it up, messed up again, brought it back to the shop. It was in the shop for about a week. So, yeah, so I ain't been making no money. And my money been depleting. The money I did had been depleting. So now, I'm down to square one. But I gotta get out here and make some money, and hopefully nothing else goes wrong with this truck. Because, I mean, I got a extended warranty that I put on it, but it's a pay-as-you-go warranty, so if something major happens, I gotta pay what I owe on the warranty before they'll fix, you know, the problem or whatever. So hopefully I can get out here and make some money so I can have that, just in case something do go wrong or whatever. But the transmission and the clutch is covered for a year by Rush. Unlimited miles. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So that's that. That's what's been going on with this truck and me. So just figured I'd give y'all a little update. Yeah. Peace.